Welcome back to PCW, where today we're reviewing WWE Raw. Stay tuned for more information on the WrestleMania Backlash main event, why the WWE are booking so many multi-person matches right now, and what on earth is going on with Jeff Hardy. Hello and welcome back, wrestling fans. I'm Tom Colhue, and today I'm going to be breaking down everything that happened on Monday Night Raw. Be sure to click like, subscribe if you like content like this, and let's get started. The main event for tonight's Raw was a WrestleMania rematch between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, with a side plot throughout the show of Braun Strowman potentially working with Bobby Lashley. They continually came back to this, with recaps from WrestleMania, recaps from Elimination Chamber and the weeks since WrestleMania in the build up to this. This also very much suggests that after this particular feud, McIntyre might be dropping out of the championship picture. I still have some quite fond memories of Noam Dar beating Drew McIntyre in PCW, so it's funny how wrestling goes. Our opening match was a 6-person tag match. Charlotte would side with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, a very odd pairing there, and on the other side we would have Asuka working with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. This was a decent length match, about 10 minutes, but a bit distracting because Alexa Bliss, halfway through the match and before a commercial break, came out to say that she was keeping an eye on someone, and the match just kept going. None of the women in this match were the story of this match. During the match, Shayna Baszler sold a knee injury, which is interesting, and we'll see if that carries over to Friday when they are defending the Women's Tag Championships against Natalya and Tamina. It's not like Shayna Baszler needs an excuse to lose a match recently given the run that she's on, because she was beaten in this match as well. Afterwards, everyone walked down the ramp a little bit, stared at Alexa Bliss, and then everyone just forgot what they were there for, and Alexa Bliss was completely forgotten since. Damian Priest vs The Miz was announced for WrestleMania Backlash, and if Damian Priest beat John Morrison live tonight, then he would be able to decide the stipulation of the match. John Morrison hasn't won a singles match in over a year. Should tell you where we're heading with that one. As another PCW aside, John Morrison vs Will Ospreay is still the best wrestling match I've ever seen live. Jinder Mahal, now with a new version of the Bollywood Boys in Veer and Shanky, beat up Jeff Hardy in a couple of minutes and won clean. PW Insider are reporting that Jeff Hardy has signed a new contract, and if this is true, the only question I have is, why? Jinder Mahal looks like he's been built towards Drew McIntyre. If Drew McIntyre does drop out of the title scene, he has, as of last year, requested to work with Jinder Mahal when he was still the champion, so I can see that continuing and actually finally happening now that Jinder Mahal has fully recovered from his injury. This for me looks like the beginning of a build for Jinder, which may see him get some championships down the line. In 8-man tag action, The New Day and RK Bro took on Elias, Jackson Ryker, AJ Styles and Amos, who really need tag names so that I don't have to say all those names at once. The good guys won, with Elias and Jackson Ryker essentially there as designated jobbers, and to make it look like RK Bro have an opportunity for the tag team championships coming soon. Randy Orton immediately afterwards hit an RKO on Kofi Kingston and on Xavier Woods, which is par for the course. I didn't expect Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston on the same team to actually work out long term. Riddle really chewed out Randy Orton for this, but I suspect this is going more with the Sheamus and Cesaro route, where it looked like they were going to turn the bad guy face, but went the other way instead. The reason we are seeing so many multi-person matches at this point, we saw a 10-person match on SmackDown, is that WWE believe that they don't have enough time for all of the storylines to get at least some attention. It also means that they don't have to come up with something new to fill time that week and keep the story progressing. They can just have a match where several people are involved and call it that way. It's similar to how New Japan works as well. The WWE at this time of year, when they're expecting low ratings, tend to have longer wrestling matches so that they can have commercial breaks during those wrestling matches, and that helps to retain viewership. That is one of the reasons we are seeing longer matches, and because we have longer matches, it means they have less time to get so many people on the show, so they tend to smush storylines together. Sheamus took on Humberto Carrillo in what seemed like a decent match, but there was definitely something that went wrong at the end of it because the match was called by the referee. Sheamus was on the apron and Humberto Carrillo leapt over him to go for a sunset flip powerbomb, didn't land on his feet, and ended up accidentally powerbombing Sheamus onto his own legs. I suspect this is a real injury given how Humberto Carrillo was essentially gripping his right glute, is what I'll say on that one. There are a lot of things that can tear, rip, or at least get stretched there. Hopefully he's okay, but I don't think we'll see more of this, because we were always going to get this United States Championship match. It was a very brief feud because they were constantly physical, but I never thought it was going to make the pay-per-view. Vignette aired for the Lucha House Party, hyping them up, and that's part of the continued push for the new Raw Tag Team division. They're trying to make tag team wrestling much more important now in the build between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, after SummerSlam they'll probably go back to being unimportant again. Cedric Alexander lost to Shelton Benjamin. I think this is the last we'll see of both of these guys for a while. That said, I would have no issue with Cedric turning up on NXT to take on Kushida. Earlier in the night, Charlotte convinced Sonya Deville to book a match between Asuka, who'd already wrestled, and Rhea Ripley. Having already wrestled, Asuka was given essentially an easy out clause, and Charlotte was also at ringside to offer a distraction, meaning that Rhea Ripley got the win. Rhea Ripley, on this match being announced, acted aggrieved, suggesting that 6 days was not enough time to recover from a wrestling match. Have you never wrestled after a pay-per-view? It seems as though the Thunderdome is instructing people to cheer Rhea Ripley again, in the position that she is now with Charlotte as a clear heel in the feud. Suggests that the feud of Asuka will not be continuing after this triple threat. Damian Priest beat John Morrison in about 10 minutes, and these matches are going way too long for someone who's fairly new to the main roster, particularly when he wins as decisively as he does. What is the point of stretching them out quite as much as they do so? Having won the match, Damian Priest announced that he would have a lumberjack match at WrestleMania Backlash with The Miz. That gets more people on TV, which is what the WWE are aiming for at the moment. There were 2 Eva Marie vignettes this week, both of which contained her asking, "Do I have your attention?" The plan here is literally just to get your attention. They don't care if you like her, they don't care if you hate her, they just want to see her trending this week as she did last week. She certainly got a lot of buzz on social media, and that for WWE justifies their choice. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Eva Marie's return. Our main event was Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley, and this was easily the match of the night. Drew McIntyre starting hot, going straight for a Claymore, and then going into a little bit of ground and pound, bit of grinding down, before going back to the absolute big dude beating each other match that we all expected, really. The match was ended with a DQ win for Drew McIntyre when Braun Strowman came down, teased the idea that he would work with Bobby Lashley, then beat up Bobby Lashley as well. Braun Strowman standing tall again for the second time, when I very much expected Bobby Lashley to stand tall this time as a champion leading into the main event of WrestleMania Backlash. Lashley at this point is pretty much guaranteed to get the win in the Backlash main event. I do expect that he will be pinning Braun Strowman to do so, but it's a triple threat, so having someone there to take the pin doesn't quite have the same impact that it would in a singles match. With this in mind, the WWE decided to try and boost Braun Strowman a little bit more instead of focusing entirely on Bobby Lashley. Raw this week was average, which is an improvement. I can't think of anything that was particularly bad. I also can't think of anything that was particularly good. There was a lot of wrestling, more than usual. There were no in-ring promos apart from one that was cut by Sheamus that accompanied a match. We didn't have Firefly Funhouse or Alexa's Playground because she was involved to the side in a wrestling match. So there was a lot of wrestling this week on Raw and a lot of storylines pushed together. That said, it hopefully will change next week when we start to see something new when the reset happens. Usually after WrestleMania, that is the beginning of a brand new season of wrestling for the WWE, and they reset storylines and start some things new. We haven't had that. We've had constant rematches, constant recaps of storylines that have been going on since January, and things just keep going the same way they used to. Hopefully next week we will start to see some actual improvement when new things start to happen, because they cannot continue like this. I've been Tom Collier for PCW. Let me know what you thought of Raw down in the comments, and I will see you next time.